Well, the first group of the injured SAMI DRC troops, that is the Southern Africa Development Community troops that were fighting the M23 in Eastern DRC, assisting the Congolese government, have been allowed to leave from Goma into DRC so that they can fly back home to get the needed medical attention. But it is important to note that reports are coming that the Southern African National Defense has reinforced their troops in a different part of Eastern DRC. In this video, I'm going to tell you where the Southern African National Defense Forces have put their reinforcement. It is just 1,500 kilometers away from the M23 controlled zone. That means that they are very close to the M23 control zone, and it means that the Southern Africa National Defense are not backing out from this onslaught with the M23. As well as in this video, I'm also going to tell you about the meeting of chiefs of military of the EAC and SADC in Tanzania and what they came up with after the meeting as part of their resolutions in solving the problems in Eastern DRC. Well, this is Bonafide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on South Africa, Rwanda, DRC, and the M23, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, a total of 189 plus 2 pregnant soldiers of the Southern African National Defense have left Goma and crossed into Rwanda so that they can get medical attention. Now, these are part of the troops that have been trapped for nearly a month in Goma and Bukavu after the M23 took hold of these two strategic areas in Eastern DRC. Now, the release of these soldiers didn't come easily. It followed weeks and weeks of negotiations from South Africa, SADC, East Africa Community, and Rwanda and the actors in Goma and Bukavu. Now, it is also important to note that according to the Geneva Conventions, that should not happen. There should not be a negotiation of the release of injured or casualties in a war. Just the same way as the remains of the 14 were released by the M23 to go to South Africa so that these soldiers, the fallen soldiers, could be buried in their country, that should be the same way that injured soldiers should also be treated. When they are injured, they're supposed to be released by the force that is holding a particular territory without any negotiations. But this was a bit different. There were negotiations, and the M23 has given its demands now that some of the injured soldiers have been released. There are still more than 1,000 troops in this particular territory from the SAMI DRC troops, and the M23 has given its demand that all foreign troops should depart from the territories that they control. And when they speak about this, they are targeting the South African, Malawian, and Tanzanian troops who currently their number is unknown and are stationed at Mubambiro in the outskirts of Goma with their weapons. These are the particular people who the M23 is targeting by saying that all foreign troops should depart from the territories that they control. The threat here is that these troops have weapons and they can fight at any time. And the M23 is saying that our irreducible minimum is that these troops who are in our territories should not be within our territories. They should go beyond so that anything else can move in terms of talks or negotiations with the other party. And reports are pointing to the direction that South Africa has given reinforcement to the troops that are based in Lubumbashi. Lubumbashi is a city in the southern eastern part of DRC, and the reports are saying that the South African government has given weapons as well as military personnel to the base that is at Lubumbashi. This is just shy of 1,500 kilometers away from the M23 controlled zones in Eastern DRC, and the South African government has not confirmed this yet, but reports on the ground are saying that there have been some reinforcement in that particular base as a response to what has happened in Eastern DRC. The Southern African state has lost 14 of its soldiers, troops that were helping the DRC in fighting the M23. It has further gone through humiliation by being forced to use Rwanda as the exit route for these injured personnel that were trapped in the M23 controlled zones. And while the international forces are not the only ones who were caught unawares with the onslaught by the M23, the Congolese troops, there was a Lendo militia that are assisting the Congolese troops, as well as other militias who are part of the forces that are assisting the Congolese troops in fighting the M23 were also caught, and many of these have escaped to the UN bases in the area, MONUSCO UN bases in the area. And the UN is saying that it is overwhelmed with the numbers of the Congolese troops and the Wazalendo troops that are within their compound and are within their protection. At the same time, the M23 is telling these troops that you're welcomed to join the movement as long as you will be fighting for us. We will take you through a retraining, just as they told the police that were serving in Goma and Bukavu, who have now gone through retraining and now will be serving the M23 in their mission to fight the Congolese government of the day. And as part of activities that are gearing to a solution in Eastern DRC, the presidents of EAC and SADC had met, and they gave their chiefs, their military chiefs, the assignment to come up with concrete solutions to now what will happen in DRC to establish peace. And the military chiefs, first of all, met in their different communities. The EAC military chiefs met, then the SADC military chiefs met separately, and then they had a joint meeting in Tanzania. And now in this meeting, which if you want to get more information of, you can check it in my post. I have posted the entire document of the result of this meeting. The military chiefs have suggested that there should be immediate ceasefire and unconditional cessation of hostility, provision of humanitarian assistance, and opening of main supply routes. They have also suggested that the Goma airport should be reopened. Currently, it is closed by the M23. They don't want any plane to land or take off at Goma International Airport. Perhaps they are part of securing themselves and ensuring that they do not get attacked. And at the same time, the presidents of SADC and EAC have come together to appoint the former President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, Olusegun Obasanjo of Nigeria, and former Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn to lead the unified DRC peace efforts to come up with a solution. We will keep following on what will happen now that the Southern African National Defense Forces troops that were injured have been allowed to go from Goma to Rwanda, and now they have successfully, some of them have successfully gone to their countries to get the needed medical attention. Of course, we are also going to follow up on the reinforcements that have been sent to Lubumbashi from South Africa to see how that will turn out or how the M23 will respond to that. And also, the M23 has been restricted by these meetings. The EAC Joint Chiefs have restricted the M23, saying that you should not take over any more territory in Eastern DRC. Hold on as we get a solution, as negotiations are being pushed to start. And we will follow if indeed that will be held by the M23, despite the fact that South Africa has reinforced its bases in Lubumbashi.